Okay, what we're going to talk about today is lino printing. Lino printing is one of the standard types of printmaking that you will experience. It is a really fun process. First though, you need to get your design. So the main important thing is to draw your design at the same size as the lino that you are using. So generally what I do is I draw around the lino, trace around the bit of lino onto a separate sheet of paper, and with a pencil just draw that square. Then inside of that square I can use various means to transfer a design onto it. As you can see here, I've got my design, and this is just a very simple design that I'm going to transfer onto the block of lino. What I like to do is to slide the piece of lino underneath the paper. As you can see in this diagram, the lino is slid underneath the piece of paper, and I just rub with a pencil on top. What that does is it enables me to have a piece of lino. I'm not sure if you can see it, but on that piece of lino is a reversed image. You can see that my design is written backwards. It saves you having to write in reverse, which I can tell you is not the easiest thing, because you might notice that when you print, everything needs to be in reverse. That way when it is printed, it will be forwards, or you'll be able to read it. Here's a print that I did earlier. What I've done is I've cut out an image of a little bird on the block. One of the important things to notice that if this is your lino, you've got several cutting tools. Some cutting tools are rounded, so if that's looking straight on at the tool, like so, the end of it is like a rounded cutting edge, and that's the part that cuts the lino. You've also got a V-shaped tool, which sort of looks like that, and that cuts in a sort of V shape. Now, one important thing to notice that when you cut lino, you need to make sure that the top of the tool does not descend below the surface of the lino. So if this is my lino surface and I am carving it with my tool, with the V-shaped tool, I want the V-shaped tool to cut the lino but have the tops of it out, so that it creates a clean cut into the lino. If it doesn't do that, then what will happen is you'll get the tool sort of digging underneath, and then you'll notice that all sorts of little divots and crevices get pulled out of the lino, and it makes the print look a bit shabby. So with this print, what we do next is we get some ink. Now you need to use block printing ink. Now the trick with this is always when you're using such like this block printing ink, it should actually state on it that it is block printing ink. Sometimes you can get that paint comes in several similar containers, and you want to make sure that that's definitely block printing ink. You apply like a small amount of the ink, and just with a spatula, and then you're going to roll it up. Now, when you're rolling up the print, you want to get an even coverage on the roller. So you have to sort of roll, if this is a roller, you have to sort of roll back and forward, but at the end of the reverse stroke, you want to sort of lift it up so that the wheel spins. Then you drop it back onto the ink surface. So rolling it back and forward, getting an even coverage of ink, but making sure that the ink at the end, when you lift it up, you get like an even sort of coverage. Otherwise, what you might find is that you have the ink sort of covering half the roller, and then when you go to do the print, you'll have sort of a pattern that kind of like looks like stripes. So it'll be a little bit yuck as you go because the roller's not fully covered, and you get like something that looks like stripes, and that's not very good on your print. The next stage is to put it into a press. Now, what I tend to do when I'm putting lino into a press is I will fold it into a piece of A3 paper. That A3 paper serves to keep everything clean. So I fold over a sheet of larger paper and then place another sheet on the inside of the paper. And I don't know whether you can quite see it that well, but inside of there you can see there's like a sort of nifty little sheet of paper which is going to take my print. I put it through the press, and I got to make sure that like nothing is in the road. And what you might notice is on here there's a press bed. That press bed is got a piece of foam that we can use to place on top of the print to keep everything together, and we roll it through. What you will notice as you roll it through is you'll feel a little bump as the pressure on the press gets a little bit stronger when it goes over the lino. That's perfectly normal. You want it to go over the top of that bump and bump down on the other side, and then roll it back through just enough so you can get the print out again. And there we have it, the final print. Now, a good print is one that has nice, crisp, even outside edges. So I should notice that the edge is not like tattered or torn or has little bits of printed ink that haven't quite rolled on properly. I want it to be an even sort of coverage. I also want the inside of the print to be nice and even as well. And the best part about lino printing is I get these little tiny imperfections on the print. Little bits that aren't quite perfect. Now, if I was making this on a computer, I could do it without having any of those imperfections. But what really makes a lino print nice is the organic nature of it. And the organic nature is what we as artists strive for. It's something that says that a human being actually created this, not a computer. And there is a lot of imperfections that you can find inside of the print which lend itself to producing some wonderful print examples. So have a good time printing with lino.